Hey monkeys, how you doing? Damian Keys here. Right, I've got something to share with you. I think this is a big one. I know I'm kind of known around these parts for fixing the music industry and solving problems, but I've done it again. The future of the music industry is Nutella chocolate spread. Now I know what you're thinking, but come with me on a journey and I will explain everything. It all starts, by the way, I'm not in any way endorsed or advertising Nutella. It could be any chocolate spread. It just so happens that this is the one I have in my cupboard. This is the one I put in my face and I enjoy it. It all starts with influencer marketing. Yes, the old buzzword influencer marketing. Now, influencer marketing is actually something that people know about now. People pay people with bigger audiences to advertise to their own audiences for their product. And the problem is influencer marketing is kind of getting out of control very, very quickly. And so kids who've got half an audience are starting to think that they can charge stupid amounts of money, but billions of pounds for a 30-second advert or a picture on Instagram. And so it's starting to get silly. It's a bit like football, where all of a sudden a player is worth so much money, so many hundreds of millions, that everyone goes, yeah, it's just silly. I'm not gonna spend that. So influencer marketing is getting out of hand, and people like Logan Paul, who are charging $250,000 for a 30-second video and $100,000 for a picture, which is just insane. And the brands and the businesses are looking at it going, okay, that's just too much for what we're getting. We're not getting the return that we need for that amount of money. And back in the day, it was really, really good because the supply and demand was very, very different. But now it's just a bit much. And all these kids are looking at it going, well, I want to do that. So if Logan Paul's worth $250,000, then I should be worth $5 to $10,000. It's just a bit silly and it's a bit out of hand. And so where is the future of influencer marketing? Because it ain't going to go away, but it is going to change because businesses and brands are wising up to the fact that this is getting a bit out of hand and a bit silly, and there's too many brands and businesses that are trying to do it on a lower level budget. And yes, micro influencers is a big thing, and I think that is part of the future. So instead of going for Logan Paul at the top or DJ Khaled at the top of Snapchat, you go and find someone with a relative audience, 50,000, 100,000, I agree. But even those guys are asking for silly money, and they're kind of just taking the piss a little bit. Businesses are starting to wise up. So where is the future? And how does this fit in with Nutella chocolate and the music industry? I'm getting there, don't you worry about that. So the future of this, I think, is going to be in long-term contracts. So instead of saying, look, I am Oreo and I'm going to give you $250,000 to go and do an Oreo advert on your Instagram, those days will probably start to come to an end. And I think what will end up happening is you'll end up having bigger numbers, but they're going to tie these influencers in, these YouTubers and Instagrammers, they're going to tie them in for 6 months to a year. And they're going to say, so I want to be endorsed. I want our brands and our logo all over everything that you do, so that way we're actually paying you to do this. I think that will become a more realistic goal for a lot of brands, and that way they're going to get the return of investment. And so where that fits in is bands are constantly asking, do I need a record deal? And I'm thinking, you don't need a record deal in this day and age. You can make a record yourself. Distribution can be done. It costs money, but it can be done. Actually having the money to actually make a record and get it out to the fans takes time. And so what you're actually needing money for isn't just the making and distribution of the music, but also for yourself. So you don't have to go and work full-time in a shop. So you have time to go and tour and all those things that you need to spend money on to get your product out there. This is where Nutella comes in. Now imagine if a brand like Nutella comes along and says, do you know what? We are going to, instead of being signed as a band, instead of being signed up to Sony Records or Parlophone Records or One-Eyed Little Indian Records, we're going to be signed up to Nutella. Nutella are going to give us $20,000. But for that $20,000, we're going to make a record. We are going to go on tour, because bands are constantly telling me they can't afford to go on tour completely, because venues are charging more money and paying less. Promoters are paying less because everything's getting squeezed. and petrol's going up, so bands can't afford to get from Brighton to Manchester to make it worth their while, so touring is a lost leader. And I'm constantly saying that this idea of how we make money, how we sell our music, is a dated thing. It shouldn't be how we sell our music, it should be how do we monetize what we do? It's a very different question. So selling our music means we've made the music, will you buy it off us? Monetizing the entire product means that the music could be a loss leader. It could be something that you say, we make the music in order to get the fans involved, just like YouTubers do with their content. And then when they do that and they love us, it's at that point that we can find a way of monetizing something else, whether it's content, whether it's tickets, whether it's merchandise. It can be many different things, but what is it that we can monetize? Now imagine if, instead of signing up to a record deal, imagine if you sign up to a sponsorship deal with a brand, of which there are literally millions, all different sizes, and you say, for £20,000, what we will do is we will make a record in the studio, we will tour the record, and as well as touring the record, we will have loads of merchandise and anything else you fancy doing as well. That's what you get for your £20,000. Now, on the record, it will have Nutella or Carling or Red Bull or Monster energy drinks or whatever it is, Evian, whatever it is. They get to put their brand all over your stuff. They get to put it on the record, they get to put it on your t-shirt, they get to put it on the banners which go down the side of the stage when you're live. Completely fair enough. Now I know a load of musicians will go, fuck you, that's corporate sponsorship, that sucks, man, you're a fucking sellout, I fucking hate you, I hope you fucking die. I get that all the time, don't worry. Maybe, or just maybe, this is a way that this is the perfect time for a collab to happen where someone comes along and believes in you and says, this is a way that we can get our brand name around, and also as a band, you can afford to do the thing that you love to do because you're getting a bit of a free ride because you made this product. You know, I can tell you now, unless you're going to get to massive record sales, you ain't going to sell. You know, you ain't going to make crazy amounts of money unless you're selling all over the world. So therefore, what happens if someone says, well, we understand that. So instead of paying for the music, we're actually getting sponsored by a company to have their logo and their branding. And imagine if every so often you'll do an Instagram or a Snapchat or a Facebook and you just say, guys, honestly, I just want to say a massive thanks to Nutella because we've actually managed to do 7 dates on the road and they've put this whole thing together. They paid for the whole thing. So big thanks to them, these guys. What happens then is you are getting loyalty. You are getting brand loyalty. So instead of Logan Paul just going, yeah, fucking buy Nutella, and the kids go, yeah, Nutella, and then that's it, and it's gone, and then he's on to the next thing because he's a free agent, and then after that it's like, yeah, and buy Evian, and buy this, and buy that, and buy something else. All of a sudden, kids are like, yeah, okay, I've seen that, I just want Logan Paul. All of a sudden, the people who need the money, need the sponsorship, and probably believe in the products, because let's face it, if you're a vegan, you're not going to go and sponsor fish fingers. Then what you do is you actually have a bit of a partnership because it's a long-term thing. And so Nutella are with the band for 3 months or 6 months, and that album is sponsored and the tour is sponsored, and you are like a bit of a partnership, like a management thing where you're just like, we're in this together and we want to say a massive thanks to these guys. Meanwhile, you're doing the work, you're doing the art, you're doing the bit that you love to do, except you have found the way to monetize what you do. Boom! The monetization of what it is you want to do, the monetization of your art, because we know that selling music is fucking hard. So instead of selling the music, we're finding a way to monetize the brand and therefore monetize you and your project so you don't have to do it. Now, at the moment, you're saying that's all very well, but how do I do it? I can't just phone Nutella. Why not? Why can't you do this on a lower level? So I'm talking about Nutella because earlier on, I literally went and found in my cupboard and I just went, that's a good brand, yeah, I'll use Nutella chocolate. But I could have picked one of 100 different tins. I could have picked anything. And on every level, you could have Jim's bike shop up the road. You could have the vegan restaurant down. You could have literally anything you want. And it's a case of these are ideas. This is the branding that you're going to get out of it. This is the marketing, the branding that you're going to get out of it. And this is what we would like to charge for it. And then it's a case of actually pushing out there and see if it works. Why not? What if someone says, look, I can't afford all that money. I can't. But I can get you £1,000, okay? What will £1,000 get me? And you say, that is going to get, if it's a national brand, for example, that's going to get us to go on tour. And on tour, we are going to do 12 dates. We're going to sell 200 t-shirts, and we are going to have some banners made with your logo on it. So everyone at the gig is going to see it. Every one of our t-shirts is just going to say proudly sponsored by, like sports teams, like everything else. And on top of the merchandise and the tickets, it can be on a ticket, it can be anything, it can be all of these things. And so people go, okay, am I going to get enough recognition for that? You can say we'll also do 10 Instagrams, one a day. Each one will be branded. We'll do a big talk. We'll be like, thank you so much. It'll be on our website. All of a sudden, you're providing an offer that people go, okay, I'll do that. So I guarantee right now, if a band like, I don't know, Bombay Bicycle Club, for example, approached someone like Nutella and said, look, we've got a deal. You have got a brand that you want to get out there. We like Nutella. We all eat it. So this is how much we want, and this is what we're prepared to do for it, and you will get onto our brand. It's just the next level of influencer marketing, where instead of just being a one-off, no commitment, I'll just show your shit and then you can fucking leave me alone, it's actually saying, let's go into a bit more of a partnership and you can pay for our tour, or you can pay. Now this is not new. It's not something I've thought up and gone, oh, I'm fucking genius. This has been happening for years, except these things seem to happen in every other industry and not the music industry. Why? Why not? Why does this happen in professional sport and it doesn't happen with bands? I don't understand that. It doesn't make any sense. Why is influencer marketing so prevalent with YouTubers and Instagrammers and not with fucking rock and roll stars who are cool as fuck, who kids listen to? Because if I think of the people that I listen to, if Simon Neil from Biffy Clyro pops up and just goes, honestly, this is the thing I drink, or this is the thing that I use, then I'm going to go, oh, right, Simon Neil uses that. That's quite interesting. That's just influencer marketing. It's just that at the moment, because it's been such a young person's game and young people hate commitment, there isn't this kind of longevity sort of contracting kind of sort of relationship. But, you know, when Nike sponsored Michael Jordan for like 10 million years for his entire life, that happens in sport. So, you know, why can't it happen in the music industry? So I think this is the future, but you can get in early, because instead of approaching, you know, Evian or these massive Coca-Cola, why don't you go and approach local businesses and say, this is what we're doing. You can see that we are now influencer marketers in a small way. We can influence our audience towards your brand, which we believe in. Let's come to some kind of deal. And let's find a way of actually monetizing what you do, instead of just saying, I've made another record. Because this way, a band of any size can do this. Because my Uncle Jim has got a shop up the road, and he can afford to give us 200 or 300 quid. So he can afford to put us in the studio for a day, and therefore this single is brought to you by. Like, let's start thinking of it like influencer marketers do on YouTube or on Instagram, and start actually monetizing the brand instead of just the music. Hit me up with what you think, because, you know, I think it's really, really important that we find a way around this. I think this is the future. This is a really good way that local bands as well as international bands can actually monetize what they do, and stop trying to actually monetize the music, which is, unless it becomes attached to something, a CD, vinyl, or something else, it's going to be very hard to sell. So have a think about it, and do me a favor, smash the like, smash the subscribe button, and tell me what you think. If you like Nutella, that's really good. I fucking love this shit. Oh, no, it's real good. No, really good. Right, I gotta go. Bye.